Hi, I'm Stacey J and this is my studio. Welcome back to the viewers have been watching me, and welcome to anyone new that has popped in for the first time. If you like my content, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button and the like button, and it costs nothing. Just saying. Okay, so today I'm going to carry on with my alterations to the Claude pants, the Claude woven pants from Stylark. Here's a quick picture of it. I'm looking to make sure it is seen. Now, the last time you would have seen that I popped on the standard size 16 and I did some serial alterations to the taking in of the hips. I don't have hips. Well, I do, but not in comparison to what a pattern is cut for. Usually, like... Okay, so I just let Willow out. I tried to let her out before we started, but no. These are my new pink glasses. Just saying. All right, cool. So when I tried it on, I had to not only take the waist in, which is normally highly unlikely for me. That's what I was saying. Sorry, before I cut out. The normal ratio is like, let's just give a rough estimate of 36, or 34, 25, 38. Okay, so a woman's body curves and goes out, and meant to be, or sorry, not meant to be. What is common with patterns is that the hip ratio around is bigger than the bust. Okay, well, not so much the case for me and a lot of other people. Okay, so this is where pant fitting, if I'd done it on my friend Lynn, who is same as me, no hips, it would have been, I would have been able to show you where things were a little bit easier than what I could tug at when I was doing it. Right, so in the pant, we found that my hips here on the pants were too big, so I've tapered all in after I'd pinched in the waist, and we found that the back was too high, so there's about 3.5 centimeters I've got to take off the back for my sway back, and I'm lengthening them. I am not an ankle grazer. I don't mind if you are. I'm not. I don't know why. And I did look at them and I did think, maybe. But baby, no maybe. Okay, so I'm not going to go with the ankle grazing. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in around the hips, or where I pin the hips, and I'm going to go back on the pattern and I'm going to merge that and shape that down. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen the leg. I'm going to lengthen the leg 10 centimeters because what I had done was I had actually folded up the cuff, which was actually already, well, it's folded in place from where it was. So I'm going to lengthen the leg, and the lengthening of the leg is halfway up the leg, the best place to do it, and it's a tapered leg too. So I will talk about tapered legs in one of my sit down Sundays. And then I'm going to do a sway back adjustment. I am not actually lifting and making it longer. I think it is meant to go up in the waist and out. Mine gets to the waist, and I'm pretty happy with that. Or am I? I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to roll with that. So it actually, where it goes in there, that's meant to be your waist. So the pattern actually is meant to sit higher than your waist, but it actually comes right, the edge of that comes right to my waist. So because I'm long from the crutch to my waist, short from my shoulders to my waist. So yeah, I'm like cut in, let's just say my body's cut in thirds. Third to my waist, 2/3 to my crutch. You know, I'm going to use that analogy for the rest of my life. Right. I've come to grips with it. I'm happy with it. I know what suits me, what doesn't suit me, but that is it. Okay, so I am going to go over what I'm doing, and I will be adding, I'm going to get a copy of a half a size, so half a template pattern piece, and I'm going to show you you how to do a Mum Tum adjustment as well. I looked at it and I thought about it, but I'm not going to do a Mum Tum adjustment for me. And what happens sometimes if you go to fit your the tum of your mum, you come in at your pelvic bone, okay, and you have that little roughly spare area of cloth that you don't really need, a bit like what my bum does. So when you have a full bust adjustment, your top is made with a B cup, and my girls don't fit in a B cup, okay. They fit in a way down the alphabet cup. So a full bust adjustment is written in the law book for me to make a top. Sometimes I try to get away with it, but I know that it is sitting wrong. Like the top I'm wearing now, which is the Fernbird top, it does pull, okay? So the extra fabric my bust needs, it pulls it up from the bottom, which angles down the line. See, it's all about the lines is what we need to do and change, about the creasing and the lines and the pulls and the tucks and the twists. So I'm going to let the dog back in because otherwise she'll bark. And I had to play back something of mine the other day, and she barked at her barking on the computer, on the screen. Yep, she's barked. Okay, I'm going to go and let her in. So as they say, let's get this party started. Alterations, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing when I do my alterations for me. And I will possibly start with the lengthening of my leg, because I know that's just 10 centimeters. Easy camp easy. And we'll go from there. Cool. Join in on the fun. I will be putting in chapters so that if you don't want to, don't need to, don't care, you can skip to the next chapter. Okay. Like I said, these are my alterations. Not everybody is the same. And I'm quite happy. Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. Sorry, let's go back in time. I was talking about the bust pulling the fabric, right? So drop it down to my bottom, and I don't want that fabric there. Okay, so I need to do a small butt alignment with my clothes. So if your bottom is bigger than what the fabric allows, like my bust is bigger than the fabric allows, then you have to work around adding that fabric in. So I've got to work around subtracting that fabric out in the right spots. Ish. Yeah. Okay. Now I thought I did have a low bottom, but I have a no bottom. So I am not doing low bottom. I do have to take fabric out, and it was a crease that came across my bottom. And if you did watch my last one, you would have seen Mr. Christopher not pricking me. Woo-hoo, even though I had red pants, he could have probably got away with it. I think my blood's a little darker than that. And he got the crease and pinched out the crease, so I know where to cut on my bottom and how much to remove. I don't want to remove it at my hips. I want to remove it at my bottom. So I'd already pinned the hips out, and then I'm going to pin the little line and get rid of that flesh off my pants that doesn't cover, or that's over covering the flesh off my bottom. Now I'll start on, because I knew I was going somewhere, but I have little fairy things that definitely kept me awake last night. Mabel was a little bit annoying, to say the least. But I did get over 8 hours sleep because I went to bed early. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off now, and then I'm going to get myself prepared and start the game rolling. Some of the things you'll need are extra paper. You'll need sellotape. Sellotape is your best friend. Okay, as my pens are able to write on this, and I don't know why, I'm going to use this one and not my magic clear tape. Okay, so first thing I've done, and what I said I'm going to do first is I'm going to lengthen the leg, because I can do all my other alterations around the lengthening of the leg. as I'm shaping the side of the leg, I can then true it up if I add this to it in between, rather than truing it all up, then cutting it, then adding my 10 centimeters and then truing it back up again. So work smarter, not harder. Okay, so I've already measured a 10 centimeter gap with a little bit of stickiness. Well, it's not sticky, but you know, I can stick it underneath and line it up. That's what I want to do. There is nothing on these except for that 10 centimeter for now. And I will then cut where I want to cut, and I will do the grain line and make sure it all lines up nicely with the grain line. Okay, let's get to it. We have here the lengthening line. It would have been on your pattern, and I'm going to cut through the lengthening line. A lot of lengthening lines have the double parallel. I think that's why I'm going so slow, because this is only a one single. Don't ask me why I'm bothered, but okay. I'm going to get our first roll. I was going to say, oh my gosh, it doesn't even fit, it's too narrow. So because I'm taking some off the outside, I shall line that up there. Oop. I'll bring it down to this one. Why I've gone to the inside is because I will be taking off some of the outside because of the way I've got to tape it down. Worst comes to worst, I'll shove another bit of paper there. And one right here. As I said, I'm going to line up to the grain line with the grain line. And that allows me to line up the bottom. What I'm using, my paper I'm using, is actually just grease-proof paper from the supermarket, little rolls. So whenever I have little bits, now I have commercial grade greaseproof paper as well, and if you are in New Zealand, I go to More Wilson's. It's our bulk buying place, and More Wilson's awesome. You actually don't need to be a business, which a lot of them you do. There's no joining fee as well. Sorry, had to take that phone call. Right, so I, in the meantime, have sellotaped that down, lining up my grain lines, and I just threw in an extra piece here so I can true it off. Okay, I've got my trusty little true it off, and I just had it lined up, but I wanted to, I wanted to show you what I had. Right, there we go. So I'll just sort of true it off there. Okay, you never can really make it in one foul swoop. You've got to sort of merge with it. Okay, so that sort of goes down there, and I'll just line that up there. There we go. So I sort of trued off there. I'll cut that off now. Hopefully you can see that. There's going to be a lot of cutting, a lot of sellotaping, and hopefully not a lot of answering phone calls. Let's get rid of a bit of that. Don't need that. Right, so that's all in place. So that just trued up my my inside leg on my back of my pants. I will run a strip down here, because we know we're taking this in, but I'll still run a strip down here. If you don't need to take it in, of course, you just true that up if you're lengthening it. If you are like me and not a ankle grazer. I think why, I don't know why. I think it might be because I don't know what shoes to wear. Heels mostly, I guess. Nice court shoe. Well, actually more of a stiletto-y kind of shoe. I would like to get myself a pair of wedges this year, I think. A nice pair of heeled wedges. Just got to find who's going to sell them, because quite often I get something in my mind and my mind says, yes, it's not the fashion, Stacey. And things just don't turn out how you want them to. Right. So you can see how that's such a, like that, if we were going to do our truing, something nice like that, or even down further from here, down, yep, I'll do that, truing off down on this line. Oh dear, that's how I'd true that. True that, right. I am going to just sort of cut away because it's roly-poly and annoying me. Right, so we've done this part of lengthening our leg. The truing up, or the taking out, will be the next. Nope, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove some of the fabric from my sway back, which we now are at the top of our pants. Now, the waist comes in there, right? That's where it's meant to divot in for the waist. So we all know that hits my waist right here. So that's how much higher on a normal human mine is. Right, so basically I want to take it out of this area. We're going to be tackling my darts. Okay, so the darts will be in questioned. So let's work on getting rid of my sway back. So this is the centre back here. So we're working on the centre back. Here's our nice V that we work with, okay, that we sew to. That little X there is what we sew to when we're sewing to it, because we're adding the facing in. Right, so across here, I'm going to put a line. Just going to whip up so it's straight. I'm just going to whip this up and lengthen. Okay, that's in line with the grain line. So let's make it straight in line with the grain line. Straight across. So remember, we're taking it out of this part, the centre back. We are removing centre back, and we wanted to drop it down 3 centimeters. Where's my pants? Here's my pants, and I put a pin at the back, and the pin at the back says 3.5 centimeters. Now 3.5 centimeters. Now I always usually just throw in 4 centimeters for my sway back when I'm taking it out of something, but we're going to go by what it says to go by. We're going to drop her down 3.5 centimeters. Okay, and that's going to be our line we drop our sway back down to. Okay, so what we are doing is I'm going to lift that up and keep this still. So at the end of the day, these darts are in the right place. If I move the top down, it angles the darts in the wrong direction. We want the darts to stay straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the back up. Okay? So cut across here. Now we've got a 1 centimeter seam allowance. So we're gonna pivot Okay, so we're going to put our little line here, 1 centimetre. And what I do like to do, and I've only just started really doing this in more recent times, is put a little bit of sellotape there. Sticky tape, sellotape, whatever you call it. And no one fine me for saying sellotape if it's not. It's just what it is. Okay, so, and then I come in from the other way. The sticky tape, sellotape tape is giving me a little bit of a strengthener so that it doesn't break easy. Okay, so hopefully you guys are capturing all this. And like I said, we want to move the back up, not the up down. And I just want to make sure nothing's hindering my pants moving, and they're nice and straight. That has gone to there. So these are still parallel with standby collar. Right there, let me just double check something, and I'll double check it with you on here. So that's still following the grain line, obviously, because it's cut through. And the grain line for this will now be that way. But there should not be. Did I steer you all wrong? That is the question. Standby collar. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. Right, so I have blended up. I have still used the points, but changed my darts. I will bring this more into the center for you to see. So I've changed my darts, okay, and I have brought the base up. So I'm going to scooch across with my tape. So if you have to do center back, sway back adjustment, that's what I would do. I made too much sellotape. Okay, so that's across there and too much sellotape, so I will pull that up and pop that in. So my hip has stayed the same, my waist has stayed the same. Okay, I've moved it up to 3.5 centimeters. That is now sellotape down. So I'll remove my little pin. And what I did was, and I roughly did it off screen to just feel right about myself. I went down to the point, which is here. The cross is here. The point was there. I just changed my angle. I will still be using this grain line, the original, okay, and then I'll just go down to this point. And there. Okay, so I will no longer be looking at the blue. So I might write in here, alterations in red. And today's date is the 19th? 19 June 24. I had to think, right. Okay, so we're not worried about that. That was just for me to get a straight line across. Okay, we're still going to base it on that grain line. So far, on our back, we have done the setter back. Check. Maybe I'll write a list of what I had to do. I had to lengthen. I had to sway back it. And I had to remove hipage. Right, so we've lengthened, check. We've got the sway back done, check. So that should still I'm only going to go down to the lengthening line, or actually I'll go down to the first notch that's here. Let's just make sure that we still have the lengthening. It's all nice and straight and good. So there's the first notch there. Let's walk it up, walking it up, and that's in line with that, and that's in line with that. So that is still matching at the hip side, which is fantastic. So before we get into removing yardage, I will move that aside, and I will do the same. See for this way back, because there's not a back. I'll do the same for, oh, hang on. I'm going to take out, remove fabric from bottom. That's the other one we have to do on this back, which I keep forgetting I am doing. I always have a pair of pants that don't sag around my bottom. So I'm back on the back. Back on the back, and we're going to take the pattern piece and we're going to have a look just what Mr. Christopher did. Oh, pin caught me. Right, here we go. So what I'll do is I'll actually change it, and I'll go from the center here, and I will take it straight across. I know that crease is like that, but, and what we want to remove is approximately 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. That one is, actually it's more like 1.3, 1.1, 1.3, 1.5. So basically, I'm going to draw a picture. Okay, so this is us. So basically we want to take from the crutch, we want to lose 1.5 centimeters, and we want to go to here and get it down to 1.2 centimeters. So we're going to draw a line across and remove that out. It'll be done underneath the sway back adjustment, so we don't play with that, and cutting that out. Because the fabric that's extra is what you would say the cheek. Okay, that's where it is. It's just too much too much sitting in this area. Okay, my bum's super low with that one, isn't it? Let's put the cheek around here. I have no idea where my butt cheek is. Right, okay, so that's what we're doing. Cutting it out here and getting it slightly diagonal across there. I know it seems I've already cut and sway backed it, but my sway back is higher than my bottom. So this is no longer part of my next problem. My next problem is there's too much of this here that we need to get rid of. Okay, which means that from here to here is too wide. Now we don't just cut that fabric out there and hope for the best. We do a few tricks and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend up my grain line again. Okay, and I'm going to cut here, just nicely. This might go up a little bit more. Just below the notches. Okay, it's straight across. Oops. Straight across, then move it. Okay, I need my tape for my thingamajiggy. Hinge, that's the word. Okay, there we go. 1 centimetre hinge allowance. Is there. Then I'm going to drop it down here. And then I'm going to do another one just here. And I will be just getting some tape. Oh, no, yeah, just some tape for my little hinges. I'm hinging down here. I don't want to change down here. I want to change up the top. I'm going to bring it in. Okay, so I'm going to take some of the thigh out because there was fabric. There was fabric, lots of fabric, not much bottom. Here we are, with scissors. Cutting across here, and this is where I'm going to take that fullness out. Okay, and then under the thigh, we need to, under the bottom, we need to take a little bit out as well. And if you have a bootylicious booty, you do the opposite of what I'm doing. Okay, so if you find it's too tight, pulling too tight, your drag lines will point where the problem is. Okay, you would do the complete opposite of what I'm doing. I'll be going in, you'll be coming out. So I don't need to stick paper under this. I do need to mark my 1 centimetre. Didn't do my hinges. Okay, 1 centimetre. 1 centimetre. Okay, down to the 1 centimetre, up to the little 1 centimetre, and down. Now, Mr. Christopher didn't take the pins and do that, so I'm only going to go in 1/2 centimetre each of these, okay, because that wasn't done with him in the room. Right, did I tell you guys I got cramps twisting and trying to pin? It was hilarious. So I want to go in, so I'm going to go in 1/2 centimetre, 5 millimetres, or 1/4 inch. Let me have a quick squiz. 1/4 inch. Okay, there's my little line. I'll put this to here. Make sure it's sitting nice and flat. Nice. Nicely does it. So I'll be taking 1 centimetre out of the flesh of the pants. It probably needs more. Now this is definitely something you need to do prior to cutting the fabric. A lot of alterations can be done when you are making it, if you put enough seam allowance in there for you to be able to move in and out. but this is definitely something you need to do before you even cut the fabric, right? Okay, so I want to mark this 5mm. I just sort of get the fabric up, that's better. I'll just move that a little bit so you guys can see it. Like I said, if you've got a fuller bottom, you need to have more room for the crutch to give it more fabric across there so it drapes nicely. So, like I said, opposite of what I'm doing now if you've got a bootylicious. Right, then we're going to take out, where did I write it? Where's my, I wrote something down, didn't I? Did I say 1.5? So now I've done half, that's 1, and I'll do another half. Actually did 7, so that goes there. Actually, I want it to go the other way. I want it to come up. Measurement. Right at the bottom of that. Coming up. Okay, look at that. Feels very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Is that the one? In the story, Dr. Jekyll. Right. On the slab. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reshape it because we need to true it back up. We've got a jagged there, we've got a jagged here. Should be nice and easy to reshape that up. So if we come okay, and this little curve here, we can roll that right around, sort of staying in the same family there. Nice. Okay, I just drew on my table. It's not what I wanted to do at all. I just get and I'll put a piece of sellotape on the other side so that it doesn't stick, because at the minute I don't think I got that in the right place. There we go. So I just wanted something as little as that to go around like that. Okay, and I'll cut that off there. Beautiful. Okay, so back to what I said I was going to do. Yep, remove fabric from Bum. All right, now that can go back away while we find out what do we have to do for the front. Oh, we're only removing hipage from the front. Yes, that's all we were doing. So what I want to do is I want to see how much I actually have to remove from the sides. So I will take one side and basically line it up with what we're going to do. So as it's 1 centimetre, I'll do it like, line it up with that notch, because that notch is the 1/2 centimetre where you attach the facing. But you'll know about that when we come to sewing it up. So if I grab this, so basically from the top we want to go in 1.5. Okay, as we go down, we want to go down 0.7, 2, 2.5. So if we just measure that out, this is probably really a stupid way to do it, but and we get to this part's huge. What's that? Three. Okay, so here, it's lined up here. There's going to be 3 centimetres. About here, we're going to go in 2.5. Here, we're going to go in 2. Here, we're going to go 0.7. That saved my haunchies. And here it was 1.5. Okay, so we've got a little rough estimate of what we're doing. Probably the crassest way you can do this, but really gets the job done, doesn't it? Go down the leg. So 3, we got to this one here. It's 2.5 here. We get to this one here, and then we'll be able to shape it. I'll mark it with dots. There's 2 centimetres. If you notice, we're coming back out. So approximately, that was about approximate, Stacey. Two and a half. So if we just keep that at 2.5, this is the ones I was doing myself, so it was a little bit twisted sister. We've got, sorry, I just make sure you're in the screen. We've got 1.5, or it's actually 1.7. See, with this, now we're removing this, so it's going to true itself, so which is good. We did put the little extra in, we did do that true line, but this will be excellent because it's going to cut it right out. And we've got 1.5 here. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll just merge out down here. So I'll just go 1 here, then I'll go 0.5, and then basically as it is. All right. Oh, my crutch is falling apart. I'm just going to sellotape up my crutch because I do not want it to fall apart. Alrighty, Just moving the mess on my table that I gather while I'm doing it. I'm going to turn my little pattern piece around. And I'm going to start making my measurements down. So here was 1.5. Here's 0.7. Here's 2. You can see that's the widest part, can't you? Well, actually, that part is the widest part where my hips come down here, and I've got no bottom. So that's why we took the fabric out. 2.5, 3. You can see it shaping in and down. 2.5. This is where the leg starts straightening it up. 2.5, 2.5, 1.7, 1.7, and I'm taking that off that inside line, not this one. So off this one here. No phone, 1.7, there we go. 1.7. 1.5, 1. This is when we start grading right back out. 1, and then we'll just sort of bring it in and bring it out. Okay, so this is where this trusty ruler comes in. I actually do have a hip one. I might get my hip one. Talk amongst yourselves, it won't be long. Everything's going to fall off this as it always does because I've got far too many rulers. Alright. This is a different curve to that one. If you see the difference, one's a hip ruler, one does a lot more, this one does a lot of things. And arms, necklines, you can do your hips, your crotch lines, yeah. Fill it down nicely. Okay, so basically, weird little body, haven't I? So now I've taken 1 centimetre out of this itself. I'm going to drop this one back 5 because that and that has already been taken out. So I'm basically going to go down to 2 centimetres from here because I've taken that out there, and because if I pulled it tight it would have been, I'll take a little bit of, I'll take 2.5 out of here, and I'll stick to 2.5 down there. So you see, because I took that out and I had 3 centimetres here, I had to make sure that these didn't override that, and otherwise my pants would be too tight, and again, nobody wants that. So we'll smooth it out. which actually gives it a better look about it. Okay, so we're still going down the leg. Okay, now I just want to show you something. Down the bottom, there is a cuff out, and it goes in and out, and that is so that when you fold it up, because it is such a, goes down to such a point, that if this needs to match the sides, then that's why that matches up nicely, and this doesn't as much now because we're going to cut that there. So when I cut and trim this, I am going to have it, find my pins, have a pin, got a pin. Okay, I'm going to have my pin right in here so that when I trim it off, it's going to trim off that excess there and maintain it goes in and back out on the right level that we need it to, because we've done some alterations. Okay, how does that sound? So I'll carve that away out of my body. But before I do that, we're obviously taking the same out of the front. Which I will do after I've added my 10 centimeters. Add my 10 centimeters first, Stacey. I'm just going to put some sellotape back holding this up. Well, that was really crooky. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to put this aside for now, and I'm going to take this little leg, cut across. Remember what we were doing? Here we go, taking across, we've got our 10 centimeter. This is the front. Your front leg is always narrower than your back leg, unless of course it's not, which it should be, because you are... Your seams don't sit on the side of you. They sit slightly to the front. Now, if they sit slightly to the front, it actually makes a thinner appearance. But you do have more curve in the back, supposedly, in the back of your thigh than the front. Some people don't. But that's why you'll find your pant leg is narrower in the front. It's got a narrower area that it has to go around. And your crutch in the front doesn't go right to the center either. It's more, it's less full in the front here. Just thought I'd share that bit of information with you. Right, again, I'm going to line it up, try to centerize it so it's easier for me to do my truing. A nice bit of sticky here. And line that up there. And I want to read a good book the other day, Okay, it took me a few days. It's called A Family's Trust. Not the trust, you know, how you put your house or, you know, you have a family trust. It's A Family's Trust. It's an Australian book, and it's written by Louise someone or other. I did it as part of a book club. I've never done a book club before. I'm not an avid reader. And I read the book in 3 days. It's not a long book. Oops. It's not a long book. But, oh, it had me sitting on the edge of it. At one stage, Mr. Christopher looked at me and he goes, "Are you all right?" And I'm sitting there and he goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Oh, no, I'm just sitting on the edge of the seat," as I was reading this particular part in the book, hey. I hate it when I do that. That's why the other sellotape is way better, because it unsticks better. Now, I will just deal with that because I'm just going to have to, aren't I? But this book, hey, oh, it was good. So I would recommend, and if I remember, I'll put the title in the comments, in the description. And yeah, very impressed. Glad I read it. I'm just waiting for Tracy to read it so that we can do our book clubby bit. This is the part I don't know about. I don't know how to book club. But yeah, she's up to chapter 9. Very, very good book. I got it. I knew I got it. I got it way before. I had an inkling. Yep, so I don't really... She said, what book are you going to read now? And I went, none. My brain needs to stop. I need to talk about this book before I can move to any other. Then she gave me another book called American Dirt. And I went, I read the thing. I said, no, yeah, no, that's just not my cup of tea. I'm not having luck with my sellotape, people. Maybe I'm using my silly left hand. Why is it that I can do so much with my left hand and then so much I can't do with it? It's crazy. Right. Just going to get this piece off my finger. Now I can do something else. And, right, here we go. Let me just put some more sellotape down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the back underneath the front. I'm going to move the front to the edge of the back. And then I'm going to reshape the front by using the back. Now, why I'm doing that is because we need the curves to sit identical. If we don't have the curves sitting identical, the fabric won't sit properly together. It's like putting chalk and cheese together. It doesn't work, okay? So you'll actually find if you don't have it sitting right, it won't ever sit right. Even if I take less off of the front, because taking this much off is freaking me right out. Even if we take less off at the front, see, by rights, that should match. Which, of course, it doesn't. I have done a few things to it. Blends all the way down there, right? So what we've got is a failure to communicate. What we've got is that. So we know how much we want to take off each. So I'm just going to follow the curve around. And after that, I'll get my pattern piece and my actual pants and see how much difference between the front and the back. Because sometimes you I'll take it down that second one, eh? Sometimes you fold the fold, but at the end of the day I just measured it, so if more came off the back, then that's not going to be marked as such. When you pinch it together, you know, the seam in the middle. Right. Our notches are still notching together. I haven't got small thighs by any means. But there's no fullness in my bottom. I've lost all muscle. Maybe if I worked out, I wouldn't lose all muscle, eh? Right. Nicely coming down here. Do a little notch there. And don't forget, you're cutting out notches. Don't forget to put your notches back. That's right, I got it folded under, haven't I? Over a bit more. Nicely, nicely. If I was doing this on somebody else, the chances are I would see if I could take from both the inside and the outside. But this is a self-help, and God knows what Mr. Christopher would have ended up doing if I asked him to do that. We had blood all over the place. So don't forget, I took a notch out there, and there's the notch there that they marry up. Okay, they marry up. My notch, I believe that's that one. That's to that itself anyway, so we don't need to notch that up. That's itself. Notch, notch. So basically, we want to, I'm on the back now, we want to re-notch here and re-notch here. So make sure you make that there, and our notch is here, so notch that up. And this is, let's just make sure we mark this. This is a notch. This notch here is your notch for your center, your seam allowance, which is a 5mm. Yep, 5mm notch. Okay, so that means that's your seam allowance, adding your facings on. This one here. So if we do it here on this, make sure we do it, idiots, they see right, make sure we do it here. Yep, nicely, nicely. Down here, that notch is there. Put the notch there. And put the notch there. I'll make sure they are on top of each other. Yep. Down. Beautiful. And again, we're going to fold that under, so that when we cut off that little bit there, we can make it work. I really, really, truly hope that you guys can actually see what I have been doing, instead of just hearing me blabber on. Right. Okay, so all in all, I need to true up that. So I'll just get rid of my back piece, because I'm going to now just true up my front piece where my 10cm add-on has been put. There we go. That's our leg there, and our leg has already been done here because I followed through on the back. Right, now we've got to trim it up and go from there. So cut out what you've altered off, and then relay your fabric down, or lay your actual fabric down. Don't forget I did a base size based on my waist. Okay, if you have got a bigger booty, maybe base your size on your booty and take in at the waist. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to cut this out and I will see you guys back here for... Oh. You know what? I'm going to stop talking because I have forgotten everything. I have waistbands. Curved waistbands, right? So what I've taken off the back thus far okay, and that's marrying up that on there. So we want to join our darts. Just dart there. I don't know why I don't have my pins on me. There they are. I'll take these. You know, it's seriously freaking me out taking out so much fabric. I just got to remember the cut of the actual style. Okay, so I've got the waistband. I've got the waist pinned up like I was done my darts. And each one of these notches goes to a dart, which is magnificent. Okay, so if we trim this down to match up with these. There's one notch, two notch. Oh, actually that notch isn't on here. And this one here is your seam allowance. So that notch needs to be, if it's 1 centimetre on here, it's 1 centimetre on here, and that's your notch for your seam allowance. So the only thing you need to do there is take off what that is. Okay, like I said, you've married up your darts. You've got your notch in line there. You've got your notch here for your seam allowance. And that's all matching. I'm going to notch that. I don't need to notch that. Oops. I must have pulled it. There, and that's there. And that is, yep. Right. So that's the back. So let's move the back away. Put our notches together. So this one I'm only going to line up with the darts because I've got a front left and a front right. So one I'll do upside down, one I won't. And all I need it to do, and they are meant to line up with my darts. So I'm just going to pin that. I'm really playing out of camera here, aren't I? So I'll pin my darts. And what is this one? Left, center front here, dart, dart, there. Look at that. dart to second dart there. Matches beautifully. Okay, that's got to go there. This one is for my seam allowance, and this one is for, and then 1 centimetre across here. Which is just your seam allowance one. So that's one down, and now this one should end up upside down. Don't ask me where my brain went for a second. Right. But it went. Okay. This is the one that has this attached to it. Matching up my second there, that there. So we've got one here, and one here. Okay. Whew. So that's that one. So my front pieces are good. And this is, I'm going to cut that off. I had that in case I wanted to lengthen my thingo, which I've decided I'm not doing. I'm just going to wear it getting to the waist. Only because I don't suit waisted, above my waist. Right, so that's that, and that doesn't change either. They are both exactly the same. So there you go, guys. That is how we do our changes. I do have one more I want to set up for you, and I will be doing that in a bit. I just got to sort out the pattern piece so I can come and show you how to do the Mum Tum rigmarole. Okay, excellent. See you in a minute. Hi, I'm back. I've had something to eat. Yum yum. Now, I said that I'm going to come back on and I'm going to show you how to deal with a Mum Tum, an apron, not one you wear, but one you wear. Because a lot of the times when you have, I've just got my little pant here. This is my front, center front here. This is my hip. This is my front. So a lot of the times you get, it pulls tight here. Okay, and like if your bottom is too big for your pants or your bust is too big for your top, it drags the line and points to the possible issue area. And then often, because you've catered for the tum area here, you've got a lot of bagginess going on down here in the crutch where it isn't actually sitting there. So it sort of goes out and you sort of have this massive amount of flesh going on in with your pants. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to deal with that issue. I'm going to take you down. So I've traced it out, and over the top of my trace out, I've done it nice and big, done it nice and bright. I mean, okay, I'm just sort of seeing what you can see for now. Just give me a bear with. Right, here's my pants, here's my front, here's my dart, and here's my leg. I didn't draw it all the way down because we're not dealing with all the way downs. Now, so basically what we're looking at is we're looking at adding some fabric here to go into your, this is a standard front. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do what we call an S. Okay, so the S will go and out and then in here. So we want to take our measurement, our widest measurement we have. So let's say we need to go out about, I'm going to use this ruler. I thought I once had a smaller ruler. I've got 50 million rulers, but I'm sure where that one is. So let's say we come out here the most, and we come out, let's say we're going to add 1 centimetre. Okay. So each your own on how much you do, and your fullness, sorry, is down about here. Just down a little bit more. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to come from the top and just make a little bit of a, okay, so I got this, so yeah, there we go. You just want to go out to where we're covering our tum. Because don't forget, if you just make the neck size up to fit your tum, everything's going to be too big. That's why when you make you do a full bust adjustment on your upper bust, because you don't need everything to be the size of your bust if your bust is a couple of inches bigger than your upper bust. So you want to come down, so we want to cover around the tum, and then we're going to go down about mid-crutch underneath. So you got your hip here, you got your high hip here, so you're coming in around your high hip of your crutch. Okay, and then it's probably a bit extreme, and then you go in and you take it in approximately how much you need it to go in to get rid of that fabric. Okay, so if you've got a certain amount that you can pull out, you want to halve that, obviously, because you're going to do it to both halves. And what that does is that takes out that bagginess of what you're covering around your stomach. Now this is a very, very exaggerated is the word I'm looking for. Very exaggerated one. You just want to sort of start small, I guess. I'm going to get another pen because this one's giving me the heebies. Okay, so have a look at that for a second. Right. Purple. So let's just do a smaller one. Bring it in and work it around. So if you know you've got this problem, I would trial it on your first pattern. Okay, so if you're going to do a mock-up, I'll trial it on your first pattern. So you've got that now. So that's going to cover your tum that sticks out, and it's going to go round in that baggy crutch you've got going on there because your pelvic, there is a word for that, I can't think of what it's called. It goes under, okay, because it's not as bulky there. We dip in and under. Right, and doing and saying this, once you've got this going on, I'm just going to draw up the rest of my pattern here. Once you've got that going on, you can no longer, because there's a curvature in the front here, you can no longer put a zip in there. So if it's a fly front, you no longer can do that because of the curvature. You can't put it in a curved item. Right, and I'm just going to quickly do some really damaging hip drawments here. Drawments, is that a word? Okay, so you got that going on. So if this happens, you then have your side zip you can put in. Okay, you can put a side zip in there, or you can put it in the back. Now, if you're making it to be a pair of jeans, if you're making it to be a Claude pants, Claude pants has a fly in the front. You can't very well stick the fly in the back because, well, you'd be unusual, but you'd have that going on. So instead, there is one way we can make and maintain the fly still in the front. Okay, and that is to take our ruler and straighten it out, make the crutch straight, right, and draw it across. Okay, now, so what that immediately has done is added all this to your waistline, which we don't want. So I'll just take this, and it is approximately 1.5 centimeters. So 1.5, divide that, that's 75 So 7.5 millimeters each. Okay, so I'm just going to go here to the dart, put that there, and then 7 millimeters. You'll obviously, if you're American, you'll do it in inches. I'm not, and I have a real hard time, and I struggle, really struggle with inches. Okay, so, and I'm going to drop that down to the bottom of my dart and drop that down to the bottom of my dart. So not only have I straightened up the seam, I have added to there, I've taken off there, I've added to there to pull across in the waist, and I've taken it out of there. How clear is that mud? Okay, so what we've done is we have found our largest point of where we stick out. We've put it and we've graded it down slightly to go around there, and then we've come back in about midway between the low hip and the high hip, and we've come under and we've gone an S. So it's, for me, it's a backward S, okay, because S's go that way. So this is a backward S, twisting it around. Okay, we want to put the fly in the front, so we're ruling the line straight up. We're measuring what the distance from that gap to that is, because that was our waistline, and now we've punched it out this much. Then we've added it, we've split it in half, and we've added it to each side of that. So this will now disappear inside the dart, straightening that line and allowing the fly to come about. I hope that was an assistance to the question I was asked, and I hope this does help for anyone who didn't ask the question. If you didn't know, you could do that. Okay, so it's just a case of that, and now I'm playing with the extra bit around mine doesn't help because I have no bum to take anything away either. But yeah, so I hope that does help in matters. There's a lot of things that pants can do that we don't want it to do, and that is why a lot of people avoid making pants, and I fully understand that. If I put on weight, or if I'm losing weight, I have a tendency not to make pants, because the other things you have to fiddle with the most, and I'll just go and buy myself a ready to wear, which is really stupid because they never fit me, because they're made, my waist is made for a bigger hip, because my waist is 5 meters up under my armpits, and my yeah, so that's how I roll. And the bigger I need it for there, the bigger it is in the butt, so, and it doesn't sort of form. So, but what it does for me is, it's Mabel, what it does for me, she's licking. What it does for me is it just makes it easier for me not to have to think about it, and I just put on my pants and put on a pretty top. Right, so I'm going to put that all through. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's vlog in regards to fittings of, sorry, something in my eyeball, fittings of the pants and what I had to do to alter them. What I had to do to alter them, and I hope that helped you in all ways. Don't forget, if you don't have a narrow hips and a small bottom and you have a bigger bottom, then make sure that you do the opposite to what I did to give your bottom girth. There is a lot of alterations out there to patterns that are a little bit incorrect. Not saying I'm perfect or I know everything, because I do not, but more is that there is a better way to make the fit proper. I think I did a shoulder adjustment on one of my sew-alongs, and someone said, if I'm going to do that, then why would I not just do the easy way? Because the easy way isn't always the best fit way, but it is an easy way, you know, like just cutting a hunk off the shoulder to make a narrow shoulder. So there are usually 2 ways to do it. I only know this way for the Mum Tum, because because I do. I don't know where I was going with that whole conversation. Anyway, I'm going to leave here. I've got a big vlog to put out today with this whole thing. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up. Let me know that my content is enjoyable and it's what you want to see, because I know it takes time. I do enjoy spending the time teaching you, but if you're not interested, I'd really like to know that. And subscribe if you haven't, because obviously I'm giving out some hefty information, and if you want to know what I'm giving out, it's probably a good idea to jump on board and watch me. And what else is there? Yes, that's about all for now. So in the meantime, I want you to stay well, warm, dry, keep cool, keep sewing, keep hydrated, and have no regrets. Thanks, guys. Take care, and I'll see you next time.